In Uruk, the storm of a tyrant raged unchecked. Gilgamesh, unmatched in power, ruled with arrogance, his city bending beneath his will. But balance, once broken, demands restoration. Ninsun and the Council of the Guardians, hearing the pleas of the people of Uruk, summoned an answer. Not a man, not a beast, but something greater. Enkidu, born of earth, shaped by the cosmos, destined to meet the storm. And so the wild force awakens. The cosmos trembled, and the Enkai core stirred, its golden energy rippling across time and space. Far beyond Uruk's towering walls and the untouched wilds where no king's hand could reach, something ancient took form. The Guardians, celestial architects of balance, reached into the living essence of the earth, binding it with the luminous spark of the cosmic orb. From the breath of the wind, the strength of the mountains, and the wisdom of the endless rivers, the Guardians forged a being, not a beast, not a man, but something greater. Enkidu has awakened. Whispers of his existence spread like wildfire. The Wild One, they called him. To the hunters, he was a spirit of vengeance, tearing open their traps and scattering their prey before they could strike. To the farmers, he was a force of balance, driving off those who sought to exploit the land beyond its limits. To some, he was a guardian, to others, a curse. "My king, we have seen him with our own eyes," the shepherds whispered, their voices laced with awe and fear. "He moves faster than the wind. His strength bends trees, and the beasts of the field kneel at his feet. He is no mere man, but something beyond us." "Perhaps he is sent by the Guardians to challenge your rule," alleged another. Intrigued by this wild man who dared disrupt the world he controlled, Gilgamesh saw not a threat, but an opportunity to assert his dominance once more. Yet, even the tyrant king could not foresee how this encounter would reshape his destiny. Gilgamesh's laughter thundered through the great hall, rich with amusement and danger. He rose from his throne, his golden aura flickering like firelight upon the polished stone. "A wild man, you say," he mused, his voice dripping with disdain. "A creature shaped by the Guardians themselves, sent to amuse me. A beast that roams free beyond the reach of kings." His smirk faded into something colder. He took a step forward, and the very air in the hall seemed to tremble with his presence. "Let him come," he said, his tone now a command to fate itself. "Uruk bows to no one, not man, not god, not beast." "Shamhat," Gilgamesh's voice echoed through the hall, laced with amusement. "Go forth, weave your spells of beauty and cunning. Show this wild one the pleasures of civilization, the taste of bread, the warmth of fire, the allure of human touch. If the Guardians have truly sent me an equal, let him step into my world and prove his worth," commanded Gilgamesh. No chains could bind a force like Enkidu. No blade could subdue him. But a mirror, a reflection of something greater, that he could not ignore. Shamhat, priestess of the guardian Ishtar, was chosen not to tame him, but to reveal him to himself. She carried no weapons, only the power of warmth, of touch, of song, of the fire that burned in the hearts of men. She was not just a woman, she was a threshold, and through her, Enkidu would step into the world of men. "Come, wild one," Shamhat said softly. "Taste the bread of men. and drink the wine of the city. There is much you have yet to see and feel, Shamhat implored. Through Shamhat's guidance, Enkidu became more than a creature of the wild. He began to understand the ways of humanity, their art, their stories, and their capacity for connection. In time, he shed his wildness and stood as a man. Yet, even as Enkidu embraced his new identity, his purpose remained clear. He was drawn to Uruk, to the city that cried out for justice, and to the king whose tyranny had cast a shadow over its people. When Enkidu entered Uruk, the people marveled at him. They saw in him the strength of Gilgamesh, but with a gentleness that inspired hope. He was a protector, they whispered, sent by the guardians to challenge their tyrant king. Look at him. His arms are as strong as stone, and his eyes hold the wisdom of the forest, said one merchant. Perhaps he is the one who will stand against Gilgamesh and bring balance to our city, said another. And so the wild force met the storm. Enkidu, untamed but now human, stood before Gilgamesh, the king who ruled through fear. Two powers, equal yet opposite, were destined to clash, not for glory, but for balance. In the great hall of Uruk, silence gripped the air. Torchlight flickered against towering pillars as the city held its breath. Two figures stood at the heart of the chamber. One, a king, cloaked in power and pride. The other, a force born of the wild, untamed yet unwavering. The moment had come. But this was not merely a test of strength. It was a reckoning, a clash of forces shaped by fate, neither yielding, neither meant to. Uruk itself seemed to tremble as they took their stances. Gilgamesh, the tyrant king whose might had never been challenged, now faced Enkidu, a creation of the guardians, forged from the raw essence of the earth, fire and stone, storm and river. For the first time, Gilgamesh stood before one who did not bow, did not tremble, did not break beneath his will. And though the battle had yet to begin, something had already shifted, an unspoken truth waiting to be revealed. The storm was about to meet its match. Gilgamesh stepped forward, his golden aura shimmering beneath the firelight of the great hall. His voice, laced with challenge, carried across the marble floor. Who walks into my city with neither tribute nor fear? Tell me, wild one, do you seek to dethrone a king? Enkidu's stare was unflinching. He spoke not as a subject, but as an equal. I seek no throne, Gilgamesh, but I seek justice. The cries of your people echo beyond these walls. The land you claim bends beneath your will, but it does not belong to you. The earth does not bow to kings. And so, in the heart of Uruk, the clash began. A battle not just of strength, but of will, as two forces collided with the power to shake the very foundation of the city. The world seemed to hold its breath. Then, the storm struck. Gilgamesh moved like a force of nature, a golden tempest, his fist descending like lightning. Marble cracked beneath him, the hall trembling as if the very gods watched. But Enkidu did not fall. He moved like the river, bending, flowing, unbroken. When Gilgamesh struck, Enkidu countered, not as a man, but as the very will of the earth itself. A storm against the land, a king against the wild, and neither would yield. The battle raged on, but neither man could overpower the other. What began as a contest of strength became a meeting of equals, their respect for one another growing with each exchange. Gilgamesh staggered back, breathing hard, and for the first time in his life, Gilgamesh laughed, Not in arrogance, not in defiance, but in understanding. "You are strong, Enkidu," he admitted, his voice no longer that of a king, but of a man. "Stronger than any I have faced. Perhaps the guardians did send you to humble me, but I see now that we are not enemies." His lips curled into a grin as he extended his hand. "We are equals. And perhaps you are more than the tyrant they say you are, Gilgamesh. Together we can be greater than we are alone," replied Enkidu, grinning. As Ninsun had hoped, the meeting of Gilgamesh and Enkidu marked a turning point. No longer would Gilgamesh rule through fear alone. With Enkidu by his side, the king began to see the potential for balance, a harmony that would shape the trials to come. But this was only the beginning. As Gilgamesh and Enkidu stood united, forces beyond their understanding began to stir. Far from Uruk, in the shadow of the cedar forest, a darkness awakened. Will their newfound bond withstand the horrors that await? Or will the wild one and the king fall before the terror that lurks within? Join me in the next episode as we unveil where destiny leads them as they venture into the heart of the cedar forest.